I love growing beautiful roses, and I know everyone has their tip and their trick and their hack. Well, today we're not going to do any of those things. We are going to use a tried and true method to get our entire rose bushes, our entire rose garden to look amazing. Hi, I'm Sonia with Suburban Gardening. I know we all have good intentions when we buy these bananas. Yeah, we think we're going to eat them, or maybe if they get too ripe, we'll make banana nut bread, or maybe put them in a smoothie. Yeah, that's not happening with these bananas, but that's okay because I have an application for our rose garden that is just going to be fabulous. I learned this application from the curator of the Los Angeles County Rose Garden many years ago. She did this in her entire rose garden at the Arboretum, and I'm telling you, if you've ever been to the Arboretum, you know how amazingly gorgeous it is. Matter of fact, I highly recommend you go there in April to see the first blush of the roses. I always like to wear my gloves when I'm in the garden, and this is sort of a messy job, so we're definitely going to be wearing them now. These bananas are super ripe, which actually is kind of a good thing. The riper the better, really. So we're gonna pull them apart, and there's a couple of ways that you can smush up these bananas. You can try to use a knife. That works okay, because you want to get the skins and everything. Now, if you have a banana that's not as ripe as these smushy old things, you can use your kitchen scissors. Look at how easy that goes. These are just the greatest size. Perfect. Now, while I'm chopping, I want to give you some do's and don'ts about using this type of application in your garden. Do not, under any circumstances, just plop a whole bunch of bananas down into the soil. You will attract so many gnats and so many bugs. Oh, it'll just be terrible. Everything you don't want in the garden will come because they'll love the rotting part of the banana. And you never want to just take coffee grounds and throw them in your garden. The problem with that is that coffee grounds have a tendency to get very matted, and they'll start to clump and get matted, and it's very unhealthy for your soil. So mixing these two things together is really the best application because one really helps the other. As you can see, I have these big pieces right here. That's perfectly okay. They will break down in the soil and be just fine. Another way you can do this is you can stick it in a hole in the ground and smash it up with a shovel. I prefer this way. Now here comes the fun part. I put some dirt in the bottom of my tote here because I don't want the bananas to stick so badly. I'm also going to add in the coffee grounds first. I do more banana than I do coffee grounds, and as I mentioned earlier, coffee grounds do have a tendency to get matted, so we don't want to add as much of those as the bananas. I'm gonna say I added about 3 maybe 3 cups. I'm putting in all of the bananas. I'm going to be putting this banana and coffee concoction all throughout my rose garden because it just causes them to thrive. Now I do other things as well, and I've made another video on how to prune your roses and feed them to get ready for springtime and different times of the year. So check that out. There's more applications, but this one is an absolute must. As you can see, my rose bush is right here. And I want to stay about at least a foot away from the base of that rose bush because I don't want to be messing with some tender roots that are right there. So make sure you're not digging it too close to your rose bush because that will damage the rose bush a little bit. So about a foot away, even a little further, and you're perfect. Be sure and move your irrigation out of the way because we don't want any accidents. This is what my soil looks like. It's absolute clay. Very, very thick and very difficult to work with. I can see a worm right here though. The more of this organic type of mixture I add to my soil, the better off it's going to be. It's going to loosen up the soil so the worms can get through and so the roots can get through as well. And these roots are hungry and they're going to be looking for things to eat, so they're going to be pushing through all of this soil. I do amend the soil quite often and I'll just keep amending it and amending it, but this is what I have to live with. Making this banana coffee compost is the simplest thing to do, and it uses things in our kitchen that we would normally throw away. I did a little bit of research, and let me read to you what I found out about what we're putting in the soil. We are adding calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium into our soil in the healthiest way, I might add. This organic matter is tremendously beneficial for the soil. It improves water retention, aeration of the soil, and it helps to loosen the soil. Now in Southern California, we are all about keeping water retention in our soil. So this is done in such a natural way. One little tip though, be sure and bury your compost at least 6 inches deep because you don't want any gnats or flies or bugs and critters that we don't want in our garden. Thanks for stopping by, you guys. I'll see you next time. Black gold is a term used by seasoned gardeners. It refers to a nutrient-rich organic soil. The soil is highly sought after by gardeners. The deep black color is the indicator of the gold, densely available nutrients. Black gold is made through composting. There are many ways to make black gold. The banana coffee compost we made today will eventually be turned into black gold in our garden soil after the worms and microbes do their part. Another way we can make black gold is by composting kitchen scraps that do not have oils, salts, or seasonings on them. Just because we have a suburban garden doesn't mean we cannot participate in composting. Yes, we'll need to keep it a bit smaller, but it is possible. Check back soon. I'll be posting a new video on suburban composting.